I don't know if we can, if you will be able to answer all of them in the frame time we have, but so let's try. If some questions you think you will be answering in the second part, you can just say that you will do like this. Okay, so there was first a question, straightforward. No, not so straightforward. So I need to move back. Yes. Practically, so it was a question from Soro Koulibaly, who was wondering, so how practically works the compensation of communities affected with their land rights affected, sorry. This is the first question. We had a technical question from Richard asking if IFC publishes the status of ESAP during post-signing period. This is very specific. And then a question from Mr. Laley, asking when does the public utility declaration, I don't remember the public announcement.
Yeah, the disclosure.
The disclosure, yes. When does it come? And is it mandatory before expropriation? Yeah. And then about disclosure on public
disclosure.
Yeah, public sorry, it's utilité publique. I don't remember. Maybe Richard, if you can
elaborate in English.
Yes, elaborate. What do you call in English by déclaration d'utilité publique? It means the public disclosure of a project is useful for the common interest. Yes, I guess. Okay. And then so this form of expropriation for public
public good.
Public good, yes. Okay, public common good, public good, yes. Does it have limits or not? What are the limits? Okay. And then maybe last question. Last question for the moment is a question from Marie. What is the IFC position regarding customary rights?
Can you hear me now? No. No? Can you hear me now? No? Okay. You have no comment? Yes. Yes, no.
Let's see.
Okay. Can you
try?
So I will divide it in three areas. The first one is more procedural and more related to us, which are some of the questions about, for example, the ESAP. Yes, the ESAP we should disclose every year, and this was a change in our policy in 2012. So every year we will, let's say, update the ESAP status in the disclosure, IFC disclosure portal. So yes, that is happening. Then the second one related to disclosure was if this happens before expropriation, and it depends on the project we have, because sometimes we come into the project at the project design, but sometimes we come when the project has already is at the construction phase, so expropriation has already happened. So it's not, let's say, mandatory that we disclose our documentation before expropriation. So it depends when we enter the project. Then there was another type of of questions. This was the last one. If IFC also if we recognize the customary rights, and yes, and maybe the table that I showed on.
Right, does it work? Can you hear me? Right, I can see. So can you hear me? Je sais, no, but I'm speaking on the phone. So I try. Yeah. Yes, can you hear me?
Worrying about this. Oh yeah, okay.
Okay.
So they
No,
can
sorry.
also.
They can hear?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can.
Okay, so sorry, I was discussing about entitlements, and maybe the table that I showed was not clear enough. But yes, we recognize customary land titlement, and because in a lot of the countries where we operate, there is no title. In some, there is not even a cataster, so we even don't know the limits of some of this land. So yes, so we will recognize the customary rights of communities, not only to land but also to resources. So in most of our projects in Africa, this will be the case. So that's why an early engagement with the community leaders, will give us also that information on who is owner of let's say what under customary let's say customary lands, and approved and supported by communities. So consultation with communities is extremely important, yes, it's not only legal title to land, because this we will not have in most of the countries where we operate, but it's also customary rights. So this was a question on customary rights. Then there was a question related to limits of expropriation, and this I didn't understand very well. So it would depend on the project. So if it's let's say a big mine, then of course it's a big area. If it's a big agricultural plantation, like if it's palm oil or if it's rubber, the extension of land will be big, but the objectives of PS5 will continue. So if, for example, unfortunately, we are impacting, I don't know, 5,000 or 10,000 people, all these people will need to be compensated under the PS5 framework. So we don't have a lot of these very, let's say, high impact projects, but we have a few, especially if we are talking about roads, about let's say hydropower, or about big primary production, plantation, agricultural production. So I hope I answered the question about limits in expropriation, but it will depend on the project. But everyone impacted needs to be compensated under the PS5 requirements. And then how does compensation work? And this is and that's why for land acquisition and involuntary resettlement, we use social experts. So people that go, we will have to first do a survey, a census, and we go to each of, let's say, the houses and do a socio-economic baseline. So the first thing we do is we do a baseline. We do, well, not us, but the client has to do a baseline, has to do a census. They have to do, what are these people doing with the land? How are they benefiting from the land? Is the land providing them some type of income, land or natural resources? What is the income? So first, there is a social baseline. After that social baseline, then the social expert will begin with a compensation matrix based on the matrix that I showed to you before. They will begin more or less dividing all the people by this entitlement and provide an idea of what they are entitled. After that, there will be a consultation process to discuss with the communities affected about what is the framework, what is the entitlement matrix And after that, of course, there will be a budget assigned. Communities will say yes, no, I agree, I don't agree. And after that, then the company will present that entitlement matrix to us, the compensation framework, and we will say yes, we think it's good. No, we think you have missed this. You have to provide more, or you have to provide additional support. And then compensation will happen in a moment. As I mentioned at the beginning, we always discourage only monetary compensation. So compensation has to come with monetary compensation if required. Then with let's say land for land or house for house, so asset for asset, if possible. And then with activities on livelihood restoration. So it is a package. So it's not only compensation. The problem that we have most of the time is that when we go to communities want the money. So they always say, okay, how much is, and we say, okay, fine, you are entitled to monetary compensation, but that's not all, because our experience is that after 2 or 3 years, or sometimes 2 or 3 years, money is gone, and then they come back and they have no other alternatives. So with companies, we always discourage, and that's a problem with publicly led, so government-led resettlement, because they most of the time only provide monetary compensation. So I hope I more or less clarified the compensation and how it works in detail, and we follow it very detailed with the client. So we even sometimes choose the social experts. So it's a work done in coordination with the client.
Okay. Thank you very much, Larissa, for all this answer. I was wondering if you can hear me now, because I tried to switch on the telephone. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay, good. Okay, then maybe we continue through the phone to make sure. Yes, another check. Can you hear me now? Yeah, can you tell me if you can hear me? Yeah, no. Can you hear us? Ah, non. Pas très bien. Okay. Bon, okay. Alors, maybe, yes. Maybe we keep with the internet, and if we have another issue, we will switch again to the telephone, and we need to speak next. Okay, next to the microphone. Okay.
Then, so